From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for The Debate.
Good evening, you're watching Republic TV. I'm Niranjan and I'm filling in for Arnab Goswami, who will be back on the show soon. The good news this evening is that India's active caseload has declined for the second consecutive day. Our national recovery rate has reached 83.04%. 1.5 lakh units of Oxycare systems developed by DRDO will be procured using the PM CARES Fund. The other bit of good news this evening is the Indian Air Force has conducted 98 international and 634 internal sorties to battle COVID-19. We'll get you all those updates. But we start tonight with another report that raises questions on China and a possible cover-up by the WHO on COVID-19. A global report and a panel of experts who are raising more questions on what really happened and how COVID-19 broke out in the first place. That's debate number one. On the show, we will bring some more facts to the table. Many experts are asking if it was a global cover-up job. And at 10 p.m. we continue with our dedicated COVID broadcast, reports from the heart of India, the only Indian network going beyond the 5 or 10 cities to get you reports from 700 plus districts in India. We're covering the entire length and breadth of the country. Independent panel suggests more powers to WHO are needed to probe the pandemic's sluggish response of the organization, also questioned. Global experts want Wuhan lab leak theory probe to make China accountable for the outbreak. Bharat Biotech gets go-ahead to conduct vaccine trials for children as young as 2 years of age. Covaxin production will be doubled, even Covishield in the next few months. Manufacturing for both vaccines will be ramped up. Prime Minister's efforts in his own constituency of Varanasi ensuring that positivity rate drops to 13% from 40% in a week. 31-year-old Soumya from Idukki in Kerala killed in an airstrike in Israel's Ashkelon. From lab leak to a bioweapon, there have been innumerable theories on how the pandemic originated, but no solid answers to any question because there has been no concrete investigation in the first place. So, who will make China accountable? And we don't mean WHO, but which agency will make China and the global health body itself accountable for the large-scale COVID-19 havoc that we see? Joining us on the show this evening, Dr. Sambit Patra, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Major General G.D. Bakshi, Defence Expert, Savio Rodriguez, Chief Editor at the Goa Chronicles, Saurabh Shukla, Editor-in-Chief News Mobile, Pankaj Sharma, a Senior Journalist and former Media Advisor to the former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath, will be joining us live soon. Royden Roach, Political Analyst, Tausif Ahmad Khan, Advocate and Political Analyst from Kolkata. Sunit Chopra will be joining us soon. He's a Political Analyst as well. I think setting the agenda for this debate, I think all of us agree that whoever is responsible, and if China is responsible, they will have to be made accountable. But I think the division on the debate is one, those who seek accountability from China, and two, those who seek accountability from the government. But we'll try and keep this very, very civil, and we will keep this organized. I will give equal time to everyone. So let me start by asking my first question to Dr. Sambit Patra. Dr. Patra, there was a report this evening. I don't know whether you had the opportunity to go through the report, a panel that suggests that the WHO should have more power to stop the pandemic while also questioning the WHO. But also a global article that's gone viral A global article by Nicholas Wade, a very renowned science writer who writes for leading publications. Those like Nicholas Wade claiming a fact sheet issued by the US State Department on the 15th of January 2021 says, and I quote, "The US government has reason to believe that several researchers inside the WIV, the Wuhan Institute, became sick in autumn 2019 before the first identified case of the outbreak with symptoms consistent with both COVID-19 and symptoms common seasonal illnesses." Now, there's a lot that's coming, so we'll take it one by one. Shambhit Patra, my question to you was COVID a Chinese lab leak? If yes, what are we doing about it? What can we do about it as a country?
So there are two parts. In fact, the first part was as far as the role of WHO is concerned, should it be strengthened further? And secondly, what are we doing about the Wuhan lab leak and if this is a Chinese virus? See, as far as I, the spokesperson of Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, I'm on slippery grounds because of the fact that I cannot speak outrightly against any country because it has certain diplomatic repercussions as well. Because my count would be taken as my submission would be taken as the submission of the party, which is the government in the center. So I would just mention, as far as WHO is concerned, well, the role of WHO is still in wanting, in the sense that there has been a prevailing sense across the globe that the WHO in the right time with the right kind of red flags could have easily averted what we call today as COVID-19 or corona pandemic. Because remember, initially there were reports by WHO that the corona is not a pandemic, it is not going to become pandemic, it does not have any human-to-human spread. So all these kind of, I should say, quote-unquote canard, in fact, without much research being were put forth by WHO with a straight face. Later, in fact, they were deleted, number one. Number two, as far as the role of China is concerned, though I would not be pointing fingers towards any country because of my position as party spokesperson, I would of course say that, well, yes, the world in fact today is questioning that more investigation should follow into actually who were the ones who were responsible for such kind of spread. And there have been certain amount of loud thinking and some reports also. Recently, I was going through some reports that probably there are some leakages. It seems that some countries wanted to develop the SARS virus into a weaponized tool. A weaponized tool, in fact, to failed economies of certain countries, weaponized tool to spread a pandemic and rage a biological warfare. Is this true? Is this not? Is something which I firmly believe the world should come down and investigate and come down heavily upon the ones who are responsible. At the end, as the spokesperson of the political party, my submission is to all those who in fact were refrained from calling this a Wuhan virus or Chinese virus. Remember, the Facebook even took down the posts of those people, in fact suspended some of the accounts who called this as Chinese virus. But ironically and astonishingly, some in our country also, and today in WHO, called the B1617 variant as the Indian variant. In fact, there was a hue and clamor in the WHO to name this as Indian variant. Many of us, in fact, have been tweeting this as an Indian variant. But then there is no cry against this. There is no rage against this. Neither the social media platform players like Facebook and Twitter are raging against this. I firmly believe that we all have to come together as Indians to do away with this kind of narrative. Thank you.
Very, very diplomatic there. General G.D. Bakshi, I'm coming to you next. Very, very diplomatic. Shambhit Patra.
Can I come in?
Saurabh. Okay. Saurabh, let me, you want to take the next question? You can. I'll go to General Bakshi after that. When a current WHO inspector, Peter Daszak, was talking about coronavirus manipulation in Wuhan even before the pandemic, and he said, and there is a video, there is an interview, he's heard saying, you can manipulate them in the lab pretty easily. He says that on record, and then we saw that tape today. So did the WHO, despite knowing the possibility of a Wuhan lab connection, dismiss it and cover it up till date? Now, the reason I'm asking this question is because the inspector that I mentioned was also the same man who reportedly got funds, was linked to the Wuhan Institute, also went and later after the outbreak was part of the WHO team that also inspected, ironically, the same facility, and also gave a clean chit to China. Now, there is a lot that has not been reported. I'll come to that next, but Saurabh, you can take this question.
Niranjan, let me give you a backstory. there is no denying the fact, and I completely agree with Nicholas Wade's theory, that it was a bioweapon which China has unleashed. The problem is that China has systematically made sure through its funding efforts, through its money power, through its bullying, has tried to take control of bodies like the WHO. That's the reason what you saw in terms of an inquiry was a complete hogwash. World today has to stand up against China, have to question because of this entire, I would call it the massacre of humanity. People across the globe have lost their loved ones. Economies have been crippled. The world today is at a bankruptcy. And here is a country which is profiteering out of it. Be it oxygen concentrator or mask, everything is produced in mass and coming from China. Which is the country, which is the Chinese government knew they were complicit because they allowed international travel to continue despite the fact there was a ban on flights within China. They must answer and the world must question. And I would urge Sambit today that India as a global power, as a democracy, must take lead here. It's a time for us to make sure that, lakhs of people we have lost, world has lost millions of people. They all need a closure and we must put China on notice. The global community must seek answers. The democracies like US must take center stage and India must join hand because WHO does not have investigating powers. WHO needs more teeth and you need an impartial inquiry. As I said, China has systematically penetrated into international institutions.
Yeah.
They have been making sure their people are winning elections. We have to see through this entire charade and today make sure that China is punished for what they've done against humanity and against the world. Niranjan.
Yeah, the irony today is that the US State Department is looking into a 2015 report that speaks of coronavirus as a bioweapon. You have the world's leading science writers talking about how there may have been a global cover-up. And let me also tell you that there is a report that talks about how a lot of media was bought out through strategic partnerships by China. Now, all of these are now ironically being published by American media houses as well about how China's version went out. And so seamlessly, General Bakshi, I'll come to you next and I'll go to Savio after that. Now, look at this. When those like Nicholas Wade, going back to, that article that everyone's talking about, point out how unlike common mutation that ensures a virus that affects bats begins to affect humans, the COVID virus hardly changed at all until recently, and from its very first appearance was well adapted to human cells, which ironically was also spoken about by somebody even before the pandemic outbreak happened. Was the coronavirus specifically created to afflict human beings? We don't know, and the truth is not out yet. General Bakshi.
I'd like to, Niranjan, very emphatically state once again, and I would like to remind you that Facebook has once again banned me for 3 days for saying what I have said consistently and what I'm going to say today again. There is a whole lot of damning circumstantial evidence that clearly seems to suggest China's complicity in what has happened. Now what has to be established is whether the leak from Wuhan was accidental or deliberate. But the fact is that it was a gain of function virus specifically genetically engineered in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which, may I remind everybody here, is led by 2 PLA Major Generals, Major General Shi Zhengli and Major General Chen Wei. Now, Chen Wei had worked in Africa on the Ebola virus, on the Zika virus. Now, let me give you a startling piece of news today. On 21st January 2020, the Wuhan Institute of Virology had filed a use patent for remdesivir, the medicine which is used now for treatment of coronavirus or COVID, and it was initially made for the Ebola virus by the United States. 21st of January 2020, the Wuhan Institute of Virology filed a patent, a use patent, that they have tested it. You can file a use patent only after about 2-3 months of testing. Let us say in a panic situation, you reduce it to 1 month. That means somewhere, well, before December or before it, they were aware of this virus and its lethal effects, and they were taking measures like getting the use patent for remdesivir to protect their own population from it. You know, their so-called WHO report, that committee which went, it was quarantined for the first 15 days, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology was made out of bounds for that team. And when they were allowed, after the institute had been washed clean and polished, when they were allowed inside, they were given no access to blood samples, no access to drainage water samples. They were not taken to 2 critical hospitals, no access to documentation and personnel, etc.
Yeah.
Now, my point is, it is now becoming crystal clear that this is a genetically engineered biological weapon, whether it went out accidentally, leaked from the lab, or it was done as a deliberate biological warfare strike. When they knew it was coronavirus, till February, Chen Yi, the foreign minister, was asking countries not to stop travel from China. 25 flights a day were going to New York and Italy and other places from Wuhan. They were deliberately letting this spread out when they were well aware that this was a lethal virus killing their own people. And the first infection was Dr. Yang Ling. Yang Ling in the Wuhan Institute of Virology per se. The fact is, what are we going to do about it? We have to first name and shame this country. Look, in the Second World War, there were huge piles of biological and chemical warfare weapons available with Nazi Germany, which committed the Holocaust of the Jews. Nazi, even a fiend like Hitler did not use biological and chemical warfare weapons, because he also felt, a madman like him also felt, that this was too much. The Chinese military commission seems to be surpassing Hitler. You know, 160 million people have been infected globally. You know that about 3.2 billion people have died all over the world. $2 trillion loss suffered by the global economy.
Yeah.
And China will just laugh it off.
So let me tell you,
our
Bakshi,
people are dying at almost 4,000 Indians per day. And because people are cowardly, they don't want to call out China because of the economic consequences.
Nobody.
When I made this call, when I put this out, this information, there was, let me just finish, Dhinanjan. There was an obituary which was put out for GD Bakshi. Obituary. Right? And you know where it came from? We checked the route. Nigeria. That is where intelligence agencies, when they want to put out such material, cyber warfare material, put it out. So I have been told that I could die. So be it. I could have died 50 years back when I was in uniform. But I think this needs to be called out. 4,000 Indians per day.
Jal Bakshi, can I tell you something?
Went to war with Pakistan about the 45 boys.
Now, can I tell you something, Jal Bakshi?
The 45 boys we lost in Pulwama.
Yeah. Now, I'm telling you something. You know, we spoke to someone who knows what was going on in China and in this lab. Something familiar that we see with everyone who sort of raises questions about what really happened. They are termed as super spreaders of fake news. Their accounts are blocked on social media, and then they receive this cyber threats online. It's common. It's common, and let me take that question to and we are simply quoting reports that are out. reports that are being investigated by even America now, reports that some of the world's most renowned science writers are saying, and they're saying that it's such a shame that mainstream media won't even talk about it. So let me go to Savio. Savio, in June, it was found that the WHO repeatedly lauded China in public, while officials, this is a report which has said it. Today the report says that in June, WHO, while repeatedly lauded China in public, officials privately complained about Chinese officials and said that they were being blocked access to key information of what was happening in Wuhan. So why shouldn't the integrity of WHO then be questioned? Why are some scared to question the WHO or China in public?
Niranjan, please allow me 60 seconds to actually make a point, because if there's one media in India that's been consistent on the reportage on WHO, China and this bioweapon, it has been the Goa Chronicle team. So first, most important aspect, the Wuhan lab is a P4 lab that has been experimenting on such viruses, the coronavirus, the Ebola, the various other SARS virus that is there. Now, whether it's a leak or not is for investigators to find out. Point number 2, the first 4 victims of the COVID virus in Wuhan were at the PLA hospital. Point number 3, the Hunan seafood market. Point number 4, the international airport. All of them are connected by the metro line. So the metro line was one of the reasons why the spread of the virus happened within Wuhan, and also people from there traveled internationally. The most important aspect of whatever this discussion is it a bioweapon? In all our investigation and all our research, Niranjan, let me state it loud and clear, this is a bioweapon, because Professor Xi Jinping of the Wuhan lab in 2007 had actually put out a paper talking about how the coronavirus, when treated with amino acids, spike proteins, could move from animals to humans. That is what is coming out now. We had said it in April last year. Is it a bioweapon? Yes. Is China playing a game with the world? Of course it is. It is global dominion. Look at the countries. China started at number 1. China's at 96 today. 90,000 cases only. Less than 4,000 people dead. USA, India, and almost all the top countries that have got competitive edge over China are facing the havoc of the coronavirus, including certain countries that are facing the second wave. The point is the WHO responsible? The answer is yes, and I'll tell you where. It started right at January 30th, when the WHO declared a public health emergency of international concern. Nobody in any other country carried this value to the PHEIC called by WHO. It was only on March 9th, when they declared it as a pandemic, that the world got serious. So you really had the whole month of January until March for the time for this virus to spread across the world. When I asked WHO in a conversation, and I asked Dr. Tedros at a global conference, why did you not term it as a pandemic? WHO says that they do not have pandemic as a category of a health concern. They have public health concern of international concern. But when I went into the documents, the Director General does have a right to call for a pandemic, but they did not call for a pandemic. So you had almost 6 weeks of time where they went and they allowed for the virus to spread all across the world. Why did WHO, chastise countries that were banning travel? WHO never answers that. Why did WHO not listen to Taiwan on December 31st? And the most important aspect which we broke today was that cases were known in the first week of December at the PLA hospital, which is the army hospital.
Yes.
So if the leak and the belief that WHO would like us to have, that it's the Hunan seafood market, then why were the victims treated in a military hospital unless the leakage happened at Wuhan. This is a bioweapon. If India and the rest of the world does not open their eyes, you are dealing with a very smart virus that is mutating.
Yes.
Mutating to the specifics of a region. The double mutant you're seeing now is a mutation of that virus. It's acting smart. China could
Savio-
only have Wuhan be affected and not the rest of China.
Yeah.
Nobody's even questioning that.
No, we have.
The only person who questioned it was Trump, and Trump lost the elections.
Trump lost for a lot of other reasons, but
This is an attack
yeah.
on India, Niranjan. I'm stating it over and over again.
Yeah. Okay, you have a point there, Savio. Let me take the next question to Tausif. Tausif, going by what we know, only purely by what we know and what has been reported, on the 14th of January 2020, the Wuhan Health Commission, that is the local body in Wuhan, said, we have not found proof for human-to-human transmission. By then, they already knew there was human-to-human transmission, but they said there was no human-to-human transmission. And then they also said that the containment of the virus was not possible in the initial stages. So, you know, we have series of evidences. Now, why was no human transmission theory being pushed on the 9th of January when it was reported that the first COVID casualty had passed in as early as December, and we have all the details with us, and all of this basically shows that it's time that you hold China accountable, right? Tausif, where do you stand on this, and what do you think can be done, or who should be held accountable and how?
No, I completely agree with most of the panelists who have spoken right now. What it seems to me is that everyone has painted the picture that China is somehow one or the other way responsible and must be held accountable for unleashing this, whether you call it biological warfare, you call it biological terrorism, whatever it is. But it has cost life across borders, it has cost life globally. And India today is in a position where it boasts itself, being one of the largest democratic countries. And the party which is running the government at the center boasts of being, the largest political party in the world. Therefore, I don't agree with the stand taken by Mr. Sambit Patra. He said, oh no, this is a matter of diplomacy. I can't say any word against China. I think if the government has any material to show that China is responsible or in any way complicit in unleashing this corona terrorism, then government of India must take it directly with either China or at the international forum. Must take a strict stand. Must isolate China globally. The diplomacy requires India to talk to other countries and isolate China so that pressure can be put on China and it can be made accountable and it can be brought to book. Just coming and saying, oh no, we can't do anything, we are so helpless, does not really sound good. Because as a citizen of India, I am looking up to my government. People of India voted to the government which is in power today. People of India did not give their vote either to WHO or to China. Therefore, yes, even the government of India has an accountability. They need to speak to the people of India. The message must come from the top office of the country to the people of India as to what the government is doing. If government says that yes, and as we all know, that the corona originated from China. But if there is any foul play, then government must act. It does not go well. Yes, we are fighting. We are in the middle of the pandemic. But we also need to take adequate steps to bring China to book.
Okay. Shambit, you want to respond to that? Okay, let Shambit respond to you and then I'll go across to Royden and Sunil Chopra.
Niranjan, in fact, a few accusations made by my good opponent. I would say that, well, India does not boast to be a good or large democracy. India is one of the largest democracies. So for God's sake, let's not put India into a precarious position, number one. And number two, no one is letting off anyone from the hook. Well, yes, as the spokesperson of a political party, and remember, I'm the official spokesperson of the political party which is at helm of affairs. You are a non-official spokesperson of a party which is only in a state.
Does not
so
matter.
of course, my statements. No, it does matter. It does matter. So despite the fact that I may be thinking something in the heart, I need not, in fact, articulate everything on a media platform. Well, yes,
No.
the government also
Name
follows the
actually.
same rule. Just a second, sir. The government also follows the same rule. The government does not have to articulate anything as far as its action vis-a-vis any country which was responsible for the spread. On the media platforms right now, we have our channels, which the country, of course, will be following. And secondly, let me also remind you of the fact that it is not that the government is
Name
not
actually.
objecting to certain things which are objectionable. For instance, today itself, on the floor of WHO, our government has objected of being, lackadaisical as far as certain, I would say, handles are concerned, who would call B1617 strain as the Indian variant. And in fact, WHO should not also name this variant as the Indian variant. And thankfully so, WHO has accepted this. So it's not that the government of India is not being proactive, but I believe presently the priority of the government of India is not a kind of war of words, but to control the pandemic.
Okay, let me take the next question to Royden Roach. Royden Roach, when you look at the different reasons why WHO should be held accountable, and there are so many cases where they really messed up. For example, I'll tell you one case, Royden Roach, when it was not rocket science, and even Lancet had said, at least about a month and a half, 2 months ago that COVID was airborne. And can you imagine the kind of disasters from saying no need to wear a mask to saying you have to wear a mask, to finally WHO now realized recently about a few days back that COVID is airborne, and to then saying that it took them 1 month to declare a global health emergency, for example, with the WHO director saying that the main reason is not because of what is happening in China, but because of what is happening in other countries. Refused to even acknowledge China after the outbreak and said that the main reason is for the health emergency is because of what is happening in other countries. So it was so scared of China, which was 1 month after the first case was reported by China, and more than 20 countries had reported cases, and finally they acted because it was getting out of hand, but somehow feel very, very scared to name China, to point fingers at China. Do you think that's the case?
Well, to look at the subject, what we are discussing today about, almost every panelist who spoke about it spoke very well about it. And especially I would like to thank Mr. Sambit Patra. This time, for first time I agree with him, which I never do agree with him. What he spoke about, the diplomacy, what he's talking about, yes, he has to be more diplomatic because it is a country-to-country situation, and he's an official spokesperson. Certain things cannot come out openly in the media, and he cannot sit on a platform like this and talk about it. So that is left to the government to deal with another government. So on that, I agree with him very well, and I stand with him. Whereas when we look at the issue on blaming China, actually what we look at is, it's not China itself has to be blamed. There's an entire international conspiracy of businessmen also who are involved in this. It is not only China, because when we look at the real structure of it, the Wuhan laboratories are owned by GlaxoSmithKline, okay, who is the owner of Pfizer, the vaccine manufacturing company. So you look at that over there, where it is leading to. And this laboratory started in China, was founded by Dr. Fauci.
No, I think
promoting the vaccine.
No, it's not owned by them. I think
Okay.
you need to check your fact on that. I think, Royden, just
No,
check.
1 minute.
Just want to fact check you on that. That may not be right, because I'm just getting the facts.
No,
it's not owned by GlaxoSmithKline. I think that was called out as fake news. So just want to correct you on that, because a lot of WhatsApp stuff goes around.
Okay. No, it's not WhatsApp stuff. It's the fact checks also done, and the involvement of even businessmen, like you have Microsoft, which is involved in it. Then you have even Alliance, which is a German company involved in it. All these organizations are linked to it. And a French company, which is again with the AXA. So you look at all these organizations are there, and why WHO is tied up is because who is the biggest funder for WHO? Microsoft, which leads again to Bill Gates. So that's a different picture completely what we are looking at. The entire structure is something different. It's not really, let's not only look at China. Yes, China is playing the main role over there, but again there are people who are below that who they do not want to come out with. And even why the entire world is quiet is because every person involved in it is a representative of his own country.
Okay,
So
I
this
just
is
want
a very major thing which we have to look at over there.
Yeah,
We come back.
No, I think I'll tell you what you were referring to. Okay, on the conspiracy part, I can debate with you on the conspiracy part, but I just want to point out one thing because, you're making a lot of claims, Royden. Now, let me tell you one of them because there was a picture doing the round saying that the Chinese biological laboratory is owned by Glaxo, who by chance owns Pfizer. Now, and then there was also a link drawn to the Microsoft CEO and BlackRock and all of that. I just want to tell you that these are unverified theories. In fact, there's a full fact check that I have. I can send it across to you. Pfizer does not own. GlaxoSmithKline does not own either Pfizer or Wuhan Institute of Virology. Has no link whatsoever to Microsoft. So you're free to.
No, they are partly linked.
No, you have to be very careful about what you say. You can question the WHO, but be very careful about what you say because, like you said,
they are all partly linked. When you do a complete root facts check on it, you will find that they are linked. They are somewhere linked to it. You see the involvement of the vaccine even now. How it is, and how are they linked to WHO also? You look at it, how are they linked to WHO? You have to look at that. And what's the bottom line of it?
Okay, Saurabh is raising his hand. Okay, Saurabh, you can respond and then I'll go across to Suni Chopra. Saurabh, yeah.
Yeah, sir. Mr. Roche, I would agree with Niranjan. Not all what you're talking about is true. As a fact checker, you need to do your fact checking on this. I also want to say that, while we are talking about WHO, we all agree on this panel that WHO needs a shake-up. You need to make sure its role in this pandemic has come under a huge scanner. Having said that, obviously in the past, WHO has done a good job in making sure that there is a global health body which oversees things. But what baffles me is the role and why has it sidestepped some of these telltale signs which have emerged, which independent writers are now writing, because it does not have that kind of investigating powers that it should have. And that's the reason why countries like India, countries like the US must insist on an overhaul of WHO and also make sure an independent commission is formed to actually investigate what happened at Wuhan and the real truth behind COVID-19 outbreak.
Yeah, but also talking about the narrative, such a
Mr. Shukla, the reason why I say is that why WHO is crippled at the moment. They are at the moment crippled because the source of their backbone is certain organizations which is preventing them to even investigate, which they do not want to go ahead and even take a step to investigate. So you have to look at who's behind them and who's funding them, who's helping them, who's creating a stability for them. This has to be looked at.
Yeah, I'm just getting in some more breaking news and more details of what this latest report that came out today. That's the news point. The latest report says, Suni Chopra, and he hasn't spoken, and then I'll go across to General Bakshi. This latest report says that there was a lack of global leadership and restrictive international health laws, and that hindered the WHO's response to the pandemic. They've been, in fact, very soft, and this panel was led by former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and former New Zealand Prime Minister Helen Clark, who were both brought in by the WHO to examine the UN's response, UN agency's response. And one of the things that they now say is that the WHO chief's term, that is Tedros's term, should be limited. It should be limited. Now, that's one thing that we can take away, that it should be limited. But going back to the propaganda, Suni Chopra, isn't it a coincidence or a well-planned agenda that reports went on to state after the pandemic outbreak that over half of the 50 nations surveyed at the end of 2020 reported coverage of China had become more positive in the national media since the onset of the pandemic. I'm getting some facts. We have a lot of facts that we have collated on this debate, not just about the origin of the outbreak, but also about the propaganda. There is a report that shows how 50%, they surveyed 50 nations, at the end of 2020, coverage of China had become positive in national media in at least about 50 countries. And I'll tell you about that, how China strategically planned media partnerships with global networks to ensure that this happens. Sunit Chopra.
Every country, whether it's China, whether it's India, does this. If they get good propaganda, they will do it. Now the point is, we should not fall into the trap of becoming homemade detectives. I was very interested in one of the things that one of our debaters said, that Bill Gates and Microsoft are linked to this.
Sir, I don't think we should draw such links without any proof. Just my humble submission, because what happens is...
What proof do you have about China? What proof do you have about China? And you're carrying on in the same way as you did with that Bihar artist, Bihar actor,
who?
For 2 months, and it was all a lie and a girl went to jail.
Sir,
God, what a comparison.
Sir, we're talking about...
I think, in fact, Sambit is quite correct. You should have some sense. If you want to do something, do it seriously. It's the duty of the government of India to do it for the people of India. But the first job of the government of India is to save its people. Hundreds are dying in the country. Our first job is get over that. Somebody else can play detective for a little while.
Sir, I'm not playing detective. The US State Department is playing detective. They've already started investigating the report. I told you, I'm getting you facts on the table.
I know what their reports are worth. Let them do it.
The US State Department is doing it.
Let them first spend their time saving the Indian people from death.
Yeah.
Even today, I've seen that the head of the medical department of AMU, Mr. Zahir, Dr. Zahir, has died. I mean, what are you doing? Stop fooling around with China. Start something sensible to stop it here. And as for Remdesivir, it's a bogus thing. Everyone has been saying it more than once.
Okay, Shamit will respond to that.
No, I'm not responding to him. I'm speaking in general. But I believe today I would say that even the Chinese, had they been present on this debate, would not have been this disturbed as my good friend Sunit Chopra ji is. So I don't think you should be so disturbed. I mean, these are just loud talks going around the world. So in fact, a media channel, what is supposed to do? It is supposed to debate on issues which are pertinent. And I would say, well, look, as far as the world is concerned, the world, in fact, is discussing on issues based on certain facts which were placed. Some of them were placed over here, some by in fact, Rodriguez and others, which are quite compelling and which compels us to think. Why shouldn't we be thinking? Why shouldn't we be having forward thought? I mean, this is a pandemic. The world would think scientifically. So for God's sake, to those people who are so annoyed by the mention of China's name, though I would refrain myself, but I would say that the same kind of disgust is not seen when India is being dragged into the international arena with all kind of bad name. None of you shout the way you shouted right now, Mr. Sunit Chopra, when in fact we call this as an Indian variant. You did not shout this way when in fact Indian crematoriums are shown in bad light.
There were
Despite
headlines.
the fact that what is happening in China and what's happening in America is kept under wraps. I'm sorry, this kind of behavior is something which does not augur well, Mr. Chopra.
Yeah. There were headlines, almost as front page headlines calling it Indian variant, and we actually did a fact check on it to see, how many countries variants were called out or given terms, whether there was a Brazilian variant called out as in headlines, a UK variant called out in headlines, South African variant called out in headlines, but nobody spoke about it. Okay, I think I lost Sunit Chopra there for a second. Okay, Savio is raising his hand. I'll go across to Savio and then I'll go across to General Bakshi. Savio.
Can I, Niranjan?
Yeah. General, you want to come in after Savio?
Niranjan, the most important thing for us to now...
Yeah, I'm coming to you next, General Bakshi. I'll come to you next.
Go ahead.
Savio, yeah. Okay, you want him to go first? Okay, General Bakshi, you can go ahead. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, let General Bakshi go first. He's the senior.
Thank you, Savio. Sunil Chopra made the point that we might as well look after our people. This is an insult to our doctors and nurses and medical staff who are straining every nerve to save Indians. You think we need China to tell us to save our people? That is what is being done. Please thank that medical staff. We don't need your advice or American or anybody else's advice to look after your people. That is our duty. Our medical staff is straining every nerve and sinew, and I would like to salute them. Don't tell us that they are not looking after the people, the Indian medical fraternity. That is an insult I will not tolerate. Now the second fact is the alternative theory. Let's go scientifically. The alternative theory, the null hypothesis, is that this is a natural epidemic. It is a zoonotic. It came via the bat route. It took the jump to civet, to human, or whichever route you would like to give it. The simple fact is, in the Wuhan wet market, no bats are sold. You understand? We were being told, the Chinese were saying, it started in the Wuhan wet market. No bats are sold in the Wuhan wet market. And if the problem was the Wuhan wet market, how come the first people infected who went to the PLA hospitals were in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and the name of Dr. Yangling is cited. The name of 6 Chinese medical workers who had gone to the caves at Nanjing to go for the hammerhead bats, out of which 3 are supposed to have fallen sick in September 2019. September 2019. And the deaths have taken place in October and in December. And I am now telling you once again, on 21st January 2020, the Wuhan lab filed a use patent for the remdesivir. We've all heard the name remdesivir now. You know the way that is being frantically sought for. How do you file a use patent after you have tested it 2-3 months? How do you file a use patent? What I'm trying to say is that, not just me, the American expert Judy Milkovich, one of the top virology experts, she has said on record, this did not occur due to natural mutation, but deliberately, genetically re-engineered.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Can I interrupt you for a second? Because Pankaj Sharma has not spoken. Can I interrupt you for a second? Because we have one panelist who hasn't spoken, so I want to go across to him and I want to give him a chance to speak because he hasn't spoken yet. Pankaj, do you think India's caught? You think India's also caught in this propaganda battle? There's a very interesting picture, Pankaj. I actually wanted to end the debate with that, but I'll bring it in now that you're here, and maybe we can take that forward. While everybody spoke about, including China, they launched a propaganda war against India in the second wave, and all those pictures were eventually taken down by the Chinese government. You'll find it everywhere, all over the internet. Now, what I want to tell you is, while all of that was happening on the side, there was a picture, believe it or not, I don't know how many of you have seen this, but hundreds of bodies of COVID-19 victims are still stored inside trucks in New York. Now, while all of them celebrated showing intense private moments of Indians and their remains being buried, right? In Hart Island, in New York, hundreds of COVID-19 victims, their bodies are still stored in trucks without even a decent burial. Now, the reason I brought that up is because there are some who play their propaganda very, very well, right? And somewhere, do you think the truth has been buried? Pankaj, let me come across to you.
No, but if something wrong is happening in America or anywhere else in the world, how can we justify what is happening in India?
We can't. Nobody's justifying it.
How can we justify? Should we justify whatever is happening in India?
We are talking of the coverage.
Now, when the dark and deep clouds of such a speculation are in the sky, like international conspiracies against India. People want to, there are so many forces which want to derail our growth and all sorts of things. Then why our Prime Minister is keeping mum? Where is our chief scientific advisor? Is his job only to make a vague statement during the peak of the second wave that a third wave is also imminent? But when it will arrive, he doesn't know. Is he the scientific advisor or what? What should I say? So I mean this total mismanagement of second wave of coronavirus is the issue.
It is the
And
issue.
Even if the conspiracy theories are right, let India demand for a global commission of scientists, and this commission or the committee of scientists should go to China to investigate their laboratories. Let us demand to the United Nations that United Nations should pressurize China that it should allow such sort of a commission, a global commission, so that they go there and visit their laboratories.
I think we've crossed that road and lost that opportunity, Pankaj. I think we've crossed that road and lost that opportunity.
We are trying to wrap up everything. We are trying to throw all these things to sidelines. So that is not the way a government should function. Just spreading some kind of speculations or debating on those speculations.
No, Pankaj, let me correct you there. Let me correct you there. I don't know whether you've read the report of the basis for this debate have been 2 or 3 reports. One which is with the US State Department. Second, a report that has been filed by independent investigators who are looking into WHO, which was filed today. That's the news spec. It's not a conspiracy theory. And let me tell you, that was a question that I asked you, but throughout the day, what Republic TV does is also show the ground reality, which we will also broadcast at 10 o'clock, reports from across India, including rural India. You can watch that. Shambit wanted to respond to you, Shambit, and I'll end with that.
No, I'll just respond to my good friend Pankaj Sharma ji. See, this topic was with a debate, with a issue that we had on hand, and the issue was China COVID truth, which we were discussing. We all had our point of view. I'm astonished. I don't understand the reason as to why some good friends from Congress, some good friends from the Communist Party found this debate as a way to, in fact, act as an alibi for China. Well, yes, I also did not speak against any country because I had certain reasons to do so. But you should never act as an alibi for any other country. Why? I mean, well, yes, I told that we have our priorities. We have to work for our people right now. And that's the reason as to why probably India is not taking up this issue with the UN right now. But please wait. Let's wait for the country to move ahead. But for God's sake, I mean, you cannot act as an alibi for the wrongdoings of other nations, other agencies.
Yeah, you have to seek accountability of everyone, everything, including the origins of this virus. And that's why we're reporting it. Have to take a break. Run out of time, Savio. Sorry and thank you to all our panelists for being a part of this debate. Thank you. And at 10 p.m. we have the ground reports from across India. That's our commitment that every evening at 10 p.m. we're getting you reports from not just 5 or 10 cities, but from the heart of India. It's coming up next. Stay tuned.